In the history of World War II, there are tales of bravery, epic battles, and strategic genius. But what if I told you that one of the most effective units in the U.S. Army never fired a shot in anger? A unit whose greatest weapons were not guns and bombs, but rubber, paint, and sound. This is the incredible, and for a long time, top-secret story of the Ghost Army. Imagine this. It's 1944, and the fate of the world hangs in the balance. The Allies are planning the largest amphibious invasion in history, D-Day. To succeed, they need to trick the German High Command, to make them believe the invasion is happening somewhere else. This is where our story begins. With a unit so secret its existence was denied for nearly 50 years. This unit was officially known as the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, but they earned a much cooler nickname, the Ghost Army. Formed in 1944, this unique force of about 1,100 men had a mission straight out of a Hollywood movie, to deceive the enemy on an epic scale. Their job was to impersonate other, much larger U.S. Army units, creating phantom forces to mislead the Germans about the size and location of Allied troops. But who were these men? They weren't your typical soldiers. The Ghost Army was a motley crew of artists, actors, architects, sound engineers, and advertising professionals. Their creative talents, which in peacetime might have been used to design buildings or create ad campaigns, were now being weaponized for the art of deception. They were recruited from art schools and ad agencies across the country, chosen for their ability to think outside the box and create convincing illusions. So how did they do it? How did a mere 1,000 men create the illusion of tens of thousands? Their methods were a masterclass in multimedia deception, combining sight, sound, and even radio waves. First, there was the visual deception. The Ghost Army was equipped with a bizarre arsenal of inflatable rubber tanks, cannons, jeeps, and trucks. From a distance, especially from the prying eyes of enemy reconnaissance planes, these decoys looked indistinguishable from the real thing. A handful of soldiers could inflate an entire phantom armored division in just a few hours. They would carefully arrange these rubber behemoths in convincing formations, even creating fake tire tracks to add to the realism. The artists in the unit would use their skills to paint camouflage and insignia, ensuring every detail was perfect. But a silent army isn't very convincing, is it? That's where the sonic deception came in. The 3132nd Signal Service Company, part of the Ghost Army, was a team of sound wizards. They traveled with massive speakers mounted on trucks, capable of blasting sounds that could be heard up to 15 miles away. They had a whole library of meticulously recorded audio, everything from the clatter of tank treads and the rumble of troop trucks to the sounds of soldiers digging trenches and the casual chatter of a military camp. They would play these recordings on a loop, creating an auditory illusion that a massive force was on the move or setting up camp, often under the cover of darkness. The final layer of their deception was radio trickery. The Ghost Army had a team of skilled radio operators who would mimic the distinct communication styles of different U.S. divisions. They'd send out fake radio traffic, creating a web of false information for German intelligence to intercept. By broadcasting these phony messages, they could make it appear that a specific division was located in one area, when in reality, it was miles away, preparing for a real attack. This three-pronged approach, visual, sonic, and radio deception, was incredibly effective. The Ghost Army would roll into an area, impersonate a unit that was actually operating elsewhere, and then slip away in the night, leaving the Germans to chase shadows. Their impact was felt across the European theater. One of their most famous missions was Operation Fortitude, the grand deception plan for the DID landings. The Ghost Army played a crucial role in convincing the Germans that the main Allied invasion force was targeting Pas-de-Calais, the narrowest point of the English Channel, rather than Normandy. They set up vast arrays of inflatable tanks and phony landing craft in southeast England, broadcasting fake radio traffic to reinforce the illusion. This deception worked brilliantly, tying down a significant number of German divisions at Calais, even after the real landings at Normandy had begun. This bought the Allies precious time to establish their beachhead. After D-Day, the Ghost Army's roadshow continued across France. They conducted more than 20 battlefield deceptions, often operating dangerously close to the front lines. Their job was perilous. They were impersonating divisions 30 times their size, deliberately drawing enemy fire to make their illusion believable. While their tanks were filled with air, the enemy's shells were very real. They suffered casualties, a stark reminder that their war of make-believe had real-life consequences. One of their most daring operations occurred in March 1945, as the Allies prepared to cross the Rhine River into Germany. The Ninth Army was planning a major crossing, and the Ghost Army was tasked with drawing German attention about 10 miles downstream. For 2 days, they put on their greatest performance. They deployed their entire collection of inflatable tanks, played their symphony of battle sounds at full volume, and even created phony artillery flashes using flash canisters. The deception was so convincing that the Germans aimed their artillery at the Phantom Army, allowing the real Ninth Army to cross the Rhine with far fewer casualties. It's estimated that their efforts in this operation alone saved thousands of Allied lives. Despite their incredible success and ingenuity, the story of the Ghost Army remained one of the best-kept secrets of the war. After VE Day, the unit was disbanded, and its records were classified. The soldiers were sworn to secrecy, unable to tell even their closest family members about their wartime exploits. They returned to their civilian lives, their heroic and bizarre contributions to the war effort hidden from public view. For decades, the artists went back to painting, the actors to the stage, and the engineers to their workshops, all carrying this monumental secret. It wasn't until an official declassification in 1996 that the full story began to emerge. The world finally learned about the creative soldiers who fought with imagination as their primary weapon. The recognition was long overdue. In 2022, the members of the Ghost Army were finally awarded the Congressional Gold Medal, one of the nation's highest civilian honors, for their unique and invaluable service. The legacy of the Ghost Army is a powerful testament to the impact of creativity and psychological warfare. They proved that sometimes, the most powerful weapon is an idea, an illusion that can shape the battlefield more effectively than brute force. Their innovative tactics laid the groundwork for modern military deception and information warfare, techniques that are still studied and employed today. The story of the Ghost Army is more than just a fascinating footnote in history. It's a reminder that victory can be achieved not just through strength, but through cleverness, artistry, and the courage to fight a different kind of war. These men saved lives by pretending, by creating a theater of war so convincing that it fooled an entire army. They were the masters of illusion, the phantom force that haunted the battlefields of Europe, and their story is one that deserves to be told and remembered. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next dive into the hidden corners of history. See you next time.